More. All right, my name is Michael Weaver with SpecBee. This is a very short presentation. I thought I had 15 minutes, but I have 10, so I'm going to go through quick. This is primarily about account management, although a bit of it would be combating client misconceptions about Drupal, and there's a few like Drupal specific technical items we'll cover, but nothing. I'm not a CTO. I'm not going to give you any technology insights really. Like I said, there's a presentation that happened yesterday that was actually very good. I suggest everyone look up. So this story is about being dropped into a precarious position, facing, like I said, the hordes, gaining their trust and quelling the angry masses. Our client was Great Southern Homes. They're now the 40th largest home builder in the U.S. When we started working with them, they were not in the top 200. So, but this isn't a feel-good story about how we, fought the man or, really battled the sales guys or overcame impossible deadlines, anything like that. It's a good site though. It's good, steady work, but more importantly to us, it's a really great client. But it didn't start that way, and that's the story. That's why we're here. So how did we start? I like this meme. I think this meme encompasses 2020 really well. How it started and how it's going. Obviously, it started as a dumpster fire. Otherwise, this wouldn't be a presentation. Technically, how it's going probably should be a normal dumpster, but the clients of Quality Home Builders, I don't want to cast any aspersions. As good as a working dumpster doesn't really make it to the billboard. But this started as a rescue project. That's sort of a specialty of ours at SpecBee. But we've all had these projects. I would consider any like Drupal 7 to Drupal 9 migration. That's a rescue project. We had someone come approach us with a Drupal 6 to Drupal 9 recently, and definitely a rescue project doing all that object-oriented code. So I could spend probably a whole hour going over everything that was wrong with the site. It's constant crashing, malware. We had Drupalception. We had Drupal installed inside a folder inside the Drupal core, and inside that was another Drupal core. And what's crazy was that one of those was actually in use. But this is at the time an $80 million a year company paying $10 a month on hosting. So you can imagine the problems that they had when we first came in. But the technology problems weren't the biggest problem. The biggest problem was the users. As a new head of marketing, he walked into there. He called us up and said, "Hey, I've stepped into a hornet's nest here." Now they're in South Carolina, so that's a kind of a common saying there. So we had 60 users. I would call it an open revolt. The agents, real estate agents, based their livelihood on the website, and it was in tatters, right? Oh, I'm very, very sorry. Oh no, I'm sorry. Captioning is on. If anyone needs a recap from the beginning, I can do that after this call. Very sorry for that. So anyway, sales couldn't get leads to their agents. Marketing had no ability to keep up. There was a poor relationship with their current devs. They couldn't actually get them on the phone. And on the inside of the site, the inmates were really running the asylum. Half the users were site admins for no reason whatsoever. We started working with them, and agents started calling our personal lines on weekends with bugs. We had no formal service agreement even. They called us up, and they thought we were with the old development group. So we had 60 users demanding a working website, a new CMS, and Drupal was taking a good bit of the blame, which was not fair, but they were looking at other options such as WordPress and, believe it or not, Wix and industry-specific CMSs. So our first job there was to stop the bleeding. It was triage, right? So in the initial stages, we would set up 1 to 2 sprints per task. This stage lasted about 4 months, and it was just tiring as can be. We had several devs on it, and it was just one thing after another. Is a Pandora's box of issues. We were constantly defending Drupal, defending the Drupal admin, and fending off migration requests to other platforms. And the triage, when it was complete after about 4 months, the site was stabilized. We removed all the malware, upgraded their hosting a bit. Still a lot to do there. We added features. We met their deadlines. They were happy with the progress. They got what they wanted, but then everything just stalled. In a business sense, we were friend zoned. It wasn't really the client's fault though, it was ours. We were the fix-it guys and not partners. We hadn't focused on solutions to the real world problems. We were just looking at their technology problems. And so it all came to head on a support call. We were discussing efforts and priorities. There were probably 4 or 5 people on the call. And the main marketing manager said, dang it, we just want homes. Now, if you don't know South Carolina dang, it's like a Georgia darn or Tennessee dern. It's a polite-ish statement, but that's how you know that things are serious. The reason that this gave us pause, though, we actually stopped everything and we said, well, we'll come back to you, is that we were offering help in the website business, but they really wanted help in the home building business. From a sales perspective, we weren't selling the benefits, right? And anyone can take a client's money, so we had to ask, how are we different? And we had to do some soul searching. We had to ask ourselves, is this a key account? And a lot of people have different definitions of what a key account is versus a strategic account, et cetera. So our definition to us is a key account is a long-term, mutually beneficial relationship. The client's success is our agency's success. It involves a lot of time and dedication of resources. It requires understanding the client's business and their current needs. And in this type of relationship, your knowledge base is vital. You can call it consulting or being the idea guy, which is fun to say, but not fun to do. It's understanding your client's business, their market, their competition, trends in their industry, et cetera. And if you don't add thought value, you have to go back to taking orders, and that is not a place you want to be, because that's a place where you're going to be friend zoned. You're just going to be stuck. So in this model, client success is our success, and it's an ongoing process. I think of it as an ongoing discovery process to our developers. I say this is account CI/CD, right? But it's not that technical. It's basically just understanding their needs, defining strategy, engaging the right stakeholders, and delivering, measuring our results, and improving on the next round. Going back to this quote, we just want to sell homes. That's the core of what they want. The relationship really changed when we asked, how do you sell homes? It sounds really dumb, right? I mean, they're a home builder, they're a home seller. But it turns out they did things a lot differently than other home builders. And that was a real challenge for them. They had something they never talked to us about. Cookie cutter options didn't work for them. They had significant technology gaps that had to be filled. And then the turning point for us was we found out they were having problems with CRM usage. Their agents were not actually using their CRM, so they were complaining about leads. They weren't getting leads. No one was actually using the CRM to enter information. And someone, I'm not saying who, just some naive moron who might be talking now, said, well, you have a CRM? And it turns out they just started using a new one that week. And we came to them, we said, well, that should be integrated with a website. We shouldn't have anybody entering this information. You should have people going straight to your website, and then we can route that lead directly to the agent or the regional manager. And that was a meeting of the minds. They said, well, can you do that? And I was like, yeah, we can, definitely. From there, the world opened up. We escaped the friend zone. We integrated their CRM. From there, we went to a redesign, a migration plan. We improved their search, the whole 9 yards. But throughout it all, what we were focused on was our business processes. We went through a little bit of tough time with their users. So in those initial months. And so what we had to do, we knew, was focus on their users. So what we did is we already provided benefits. We gave them a better website, a working inventory system, faster leads. They stopped calling us on the weekends. They started using our correct name and knew our company name. It was a breath of fresh air. But what we had to do is we had to fix what was happening on the back end. So what we did is we redefined their user roles, created custom dashboards, created customer reports, enhanced search in the back end. And for their most intense data entry, where they would have up to 200 fields to fill in, we reconfigured it to present to them in a easier, more helpful manner, using tooltips, using help text, tabs, simple things that for us, we were like, well, yeah, that's pretty easy, but they had no idea that was possible. So we had never heard a single word after we did this about any other content management system, because the site stayed up, the site worked. And then for managers and admins, we didn't want to get those calls on the weekend, so we implemented basically internal help. They can now masquerade as their agents to do their own troubleshooting. We added reporting on users and communities and homes. Everything is in one place. And finally, we implemented Claro. There's nothing wrong with the Drupal admin theme. It's great, but if you have too many bad experiences with it, really the openness and the subtle hints and tones of Claro and how the design of it makes a huge difference in usability and user satisfaction. We had several people who thought that we had changed our CMS completely, and that we had done a major upgrade just because we installed a new admin theme. We discussed strategy shift. What this means on a weekly basis, though, is that we, for lack of a better term, we brainstorm. We present ideas every week for enhancements and improvements, everything from integrating real world marketing to having open and lighthearted but honest arguments about how they are mucking up our beautiful design with their ad campaigns. But we stay on top of trends. We look and see what their competition's doing. We win some battles, we lose some battles, but we're always hustling and we're always appreciated. That is until we saw this email sent out to all their marketing contractors. It came in last summer and it had stuff that we were not prepared for. I wasn't prepared for, because we've been working really hard with them day in and day out. And it said that we should take the initiative, be creative. We should be proactive with the account, and we should think creatively. And I'm reading this, my heart's dropping, and it's just like I'm putting my head in my hands. It's just an exasperated rage. And I was like, what, Bill, what does this mean? And he wrote back an email and he said, oh, that's why I BCC'd you on the email. This was the Act Like Spec Bee email. So we actually became the model for our clients for how, we became the model for their contractors for how we should deal with them, because we were always presenting them ideas and we're always willing to help. So that is my 10 minutes. I am just over by about a minute. I don't want to go any further. Does anybody have any questions, or does anybody want to speak up? Or hello? All right, guys. Well, thank you very much. I don't see any questions. I mean, if there's anything. Thank you, John. Yay to you. You can always stop by our booth, and I'm willing to talk more about the details, more about the nightmares that we actually received, late night phone calls, etc. So please feel free to stop by our booth, and I'll see you around the DrupalCon.